a forced savings account. I think, Leo, you made this point earlier. You're kind of forcing that savings, right? So you're putting that money towards your equity, and your equity is your wealth savings. Can we talk a little bit about how that creates wealth over time?
So I think that's a good point, and the reason why it creates wealth over time is just because it gives you this debt, and George can also speak to this, but the debt of a mortgage is actually good debt. A lot of times people, or I should say creditors, or when you're, let's say you're buying a car, or, you know, years after a home purchase and there's a mortgage that shows up on your credit report, there is something that's appraised. There is something that's tangible. There is something where typically, you know, it's always going to go up in value, the homes, or a home will, a condo, it doesn't matter, a multifamily. It's an investment which creates flexibility, and you're gaining equity over time. I mean, just statistically speaking, especially in Massachusetts, depending on what areas, you'll be gaining equity 2-3% every year that passes on the property value. And again, it's a good debt to have a mortgage because there's something tangible behind it, where it's secure. If, knock on wood, you become even more of a responsible payer, or in terms of gaining credit for yourself because you're a homeowner in those circumstances. So, you know, going down the lines, as you're creating equity for yourself and creating this financial responsibility and financial freedom, in the sense that now you're looking towards buying a second home, using the equity that you've gained on maybe your primary residence, could be a down payment on an investment property. And of course, it starts off with a small snowball, and it becomes a huge avalanche of snow. And
I love that.
You have to start somewhere. Yeah, you have to.
We call that leveraging your primary residence against an income property, right? And all of a sudden, you're moving into a whole nother class of or bracket of wealth creation. It's a multiplication effect, right?
Absolutely. I've seen, you know, even from a sales point of view of representing a seller, in Dorchester, they purchased the property 10 years ago for $400,000. And they sold this past year for $1 million. I mean, it's insane. It's just, I mean, that's in 10 years. I mean, where are you going to get a return on investment like that? It's great.
And that's all while they were working. They just by paying their cost of living.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, you're paying for your house, and you're just creating so much flexibility and opportunity for yourself by actually taking the initial leap into buying. You know, it's an intimidating process, but by trusting your team, by trusting individuals that have your best interest and have been in the field for a number of years and know the market, you know, you have to start somewhere, and you have to take that initial leap. It's almost like you're about to take your first swim of the summer, you know, and you're like, is the water all right? What's the temperature? Is it cold? Is it, you know? But you're about to jump in, and once you just dive in and start swimming, you feel great. And that's kind of what home ownership is.
Yeah, learning to float. Today we're going to teach people how to float so they can swim for themselves.